You know, as a dad, I try to teach my kids a pretty simple lesson. If you put in the work, stay consistent, and build something with integrity, it'll last. That's the hustle, right? That's what we tell ourselves. But as I look at the gaming industry in February of 2026, I'm starting to think I'm lying to them. Because right now, you can work for 10 years on a project, like let's say the team at Riot did with 2XKO, or the devs at Wildlife did with Highguard, and your empire can be dismantled by a guy in a suit who hasn't touched a controller since Minesweeper was pre-installed on Windows. We are currently witnessing the most violent correction in the history of entertainment, the infinite money tap. The studios left running during the post-pandemic boom hasn't just run dry, the pipes are bursting. The basement is flooded, and the landlords are currently burning the house down for the insurance money. We're going to talk about the fall of the Riot Empire, the bizarre identity crisis at Xbox, and why the prestige era of gaming is officially dead. Grab a coffee or something stronger. We've got a lot to get through. Let's start with the freshest corpse in the room, Highguard. If you haven't heard of it, don't feel bad. Even the people who made it seem to have forgotten it existed about 48 hours after it launched. Now, from a marketing perspective, Highguard was supposed to be a slam dunk. You had former Apex and Titanfall devs. You had a massive budget. But here's the problem with the 2026 market. It's a graveyard of hero shooters that nobody asked for. We've seen this movie before with Concord, we saw it with Hyenas, and yet the suits keep greenlighting them. The reference video I was looking at earlier talked about how Riot's 2XKO, formerly Project L, suffered because it was too niche. But Highguard isn't niche, it's just redundant. It lost 90% of its player base in 7 days. Imagine spending years of your life, millions of dollars, and untold amounts of stress on a project, only for the restructuring to start 16 days after the public finally got to touch it. That's not a business plan, that's a pump and dump scheme. And as a marketer, it drives me insane. You cannot optimize your way out of a product nobody wants. You can't A/B test your way into a soul. But in 2026, the industry is obsessed with the safe bet, even though every single safe bet has resulted in a $100 million write-off. Speaking of suits, we have to talk about the new leadership at Xbox. Phil Spencer is gone, and in his place, we have Asha Sharma. Now, usually I don't care about a CEO's personal life, but when you're the head of a gaming division, your street cred matters a lot more here. The internet did what the internet does. They became digital detectives. They found her gamer tag, 10,000 Gamerscore. For a casual player, that's totally fine. My wife has around that and she's a delight. But for the CEO of Microsoft Gaming, that is a PR nightmare. And then it got worse. People know she started playing 29 games in a single month, mostly easy achievement indies to pad her stats. It's like a politician wearing a hard hat for a photo op at a construction site, but holding the shovel upside down. And the reason this matters and the reason the empire is falling is because it signals a total disconnect. When the person at the top doesn't understand why we play, they start making decisions based on user engagement metrics and ecosystem synergy. That's how you end up with the dashboard that looks like a digital billboard and a subscription service that, well, gets a price hike every 6 months while the actual games are being delayed indefinitely. If you don't love the craft, you're just managing a decline. And don't think for a second that the blue team is doing any better. Sony just shuttered Bluepoint Games. This is the studio that gave us the Demon's Souls remake. They gave us Shadow of the Colossus. They were the prestige studio. They were the ones who made sure your $500 console actually felt like a next-gen machine. Why kill them? Because they weren't making a live service game. Sony has this live service mandate that is currently gutting their best talent. They're literally sacrificing the studios that build their brand loyalty to chase a Fortnite check that is never coming. From a marketing standpoint, this is brand suicide. Sony's whole identity was the place to play high quality single player masterpieces. By forcing everyone into the live service meat grinder, they're becoming the place to play generic hero shooter number 4 until the servers shut down in 6 months. It's the same thing that Bellular pointed out with Riot. When you pivot away from what made you famous to chase a trend that has already passed, you lose your core audience. And once that trust is gone, you can't just buy it back with a 4K trailer. And this hits home for me because as someone who talks about marketing and life updates here on the channel, I see this pattern everywhere. It's the line must go up mentality. It's not enough to make a profit, you have to make all the profit. I see it in my own life too. I'm a dad, I'm a marketer, I'm a creator. If I spent all my time optimizing my relationship with my kids for maximum efficiency, I'd be a terrible father. Some things need time. Some things need to fail so they can get better. But the gaming industry has lost its patience. They're treating 10-year projects like they're TikTok trends. If it doesn't go viral in the first 3 weeks, it's a total failure. If it doesn't have a 100-hour battle pass, it's not viable. We are losing the art because we're too focused on the arbitrage. We're so busy trying to hack the algorithm that we've forgotten how to actually make something that matters. So is the empire falling? Yeah, I think it is. But maybe that's not a bad thing in the long run. Maybe we need these bloated, out-of-touch corporate structures to collapse so that the people who actually care about games can start building something new. We see it with things like the Switch 2. Even if the hardware isn't a powerhouse, people are excited because Nintendo still understands the fun. We're seeing it with the indie scene, where games like Vault Breakers are eating the lunch of AAA studios with 1% of the budget. The industry is in a dark place right now. Layoffs are everywhere, leadership is a mess, and the safe bets are all failing. But as always, the game over screen is just an opportunity to hit continue and try a different strategy. I want to hear from you guys though. Do you think the Xbox CEO Gamerscore thing is a big deal? Or am I just being a gamer dad grump? And which studio do you think is next on the chopping block? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the total collapse of the industry, hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel more than you know, and it keeps me from having to get a job at a firm that makes me use the word synergy in every sentence. I'm Kyler Ray. Keep the hustle real, keep the games fun, and I'll see you in the next one.